Greetings, everyone. This whole debacle with that woman, Alice, that crab vendor at the Eros Circle, is something that has people acting schizophrenic. Because in the very beginning, what made me very upset was how the person who did the right thing was hailed as the villain. And this woman had the audacity to be giving all these interviews to people because she would only be talking that way because people were making her feel like everything was okay. But I want to explain some things to you because in my YouTube video, I didn't really get into it. I did in my video on TikTok. And I want to say to people, see, in Jamaica, there's a lot of persons' their hand is dipped in not just the ish, but in blood. There are a lot of very evil people in Jamaica, or the world for that matter. But in our little island, there are so many people there with promise. There's so many people with potential. But folks understand the power to destroy. And if they would use the same energy to build themselves, it would be a good thing. Or use the thing to defend themselves, it would be a good thing. But no, they see someone with potential and they try to stop you, to try to stifle you. And it's not just strangers, family, friends, So rather than just focus on what we see in front of us in terms of the woman, doing what she did on camera, let's look at why people find their life upset, why people feel themselves backed into a corner and don't understand that these are the kind of things that are happening. These are the kind of things that people do. So, the whole story is it about cleanliness and whatever? No, it's not just about cleanliness. That's not what we see at play. We see someone continuing a ritual that has caused her to become shining like that, brass. And it's called commanding spell, where you do a particular ritual and it doesn't get people to come to you, to love you. Don't you know that a lot of these people on social media, a lot of people you see with fame and fortune, they are using commanding spells on the people. You think it's their natural ability to draw a crowd or natural ability to sell, natural ability to be successful. A lot of them are very much involved in commanding spells. These are some of the things that I want to talk about on the channel. Clearly tell you what plans, what thing can be used for that purpose. But if you're a spiritual person who is walking on a path where you're completely dependent on downloads from the Holy Spirit, from your ancestors, from your guides, you cannot do anything just for your financial reward or to be taken. Now, you're going to say, well, how are you saying these people are using commanding spells and they're getting rich or they're getting fame or whatever? So how is it not taken? Well, when you're working with certain spirits, okay, if we're even talking about African spirituality and you're looking at the Orishas, there are these deities that they're tricksters. Eshu is a trickster. So there are spirits that if you go to them and you ask them to help you with whatever it is that you want, and they are not clean energy, just to put it so you can understand that layman's term, if they're tricksters, they will give you what you ask for, but it's not going to be the way you expect it. So for example, you want to get riches, you want to get fame, you might just get that, but before everything ends, it's all disgrace. So Who are you getting your gifts from? So the average person who gives, charity, for example, or does a lot of good things for people doesn't necessarily get rewards of riches. You can know that you're going to get guidance. You know that you're going to get protection. You know that, when you are in need, you can pray and ask for divine help or intervention and you make your way through. But the people who are truly of a good, clean spirit go through a lot of trials and tribulation. Don't let anybody fool you. Oh, because you're kind and you give all this and that, and because you do charity, you're blessed. That's a lie. Some of the kindest people on earth are poor. Some of the people on earth who do good things, they suffer in silence. And so when you're doing good, you can't expect to do it with the expectation that you're going to reap the rewards. You might not. Your children or your grandkids might. I just know that those who are of good heart, clean spirit, clean hands, will overcome all things. That is guaranteed. So there are a lot of persons doing business that, and it's not just Jamaicans, around the world. I've shown you pictures and videos of going into certain establishment and you see it right there in front of you. I did a video previously with, they're so subtle. Some of these signs are so subtle, you don't recognize them. Right? So I'm not here to criticize these cultures or whomever doing whatever. It is for you to know, learn, so you can identify these things for yourself. In order to protect yourself. Now, I shared a story before and I'm going to share it again for those who are new. I was asked by one of my church sistrins to move into a place that she previously occupied with another friend. I was looking to move anyway, and she said that the person got married and the person was leaving, and so she needed someone to help her. She only needed 1 bedroom, and it was a 3-bedroom condo. It was myself, my daughter, and her, and another person that was staying with me. And so I said, well, I cannot move with you unless it's okay for the other person that was staying with me, because I had kind of give her a commitment that I was going to let her stay with me for a little while. And so we moved in, and shortly thereafter, some things unfolded, but the commitment I gave her was just 6 months, because I could only stay there for that month until she got out of her lease. And then I had to move on because my partner would then join me years later. So a month, he needed to join me a short time later. So I couldn't stay. I couldn't commit to staying at that place for more than the 6 months. Anyway, I usually make my lunches at night. Whatever I prepare for dinner, I share some out for lunch. And so I did that as per usual. And the morning when I got up and I was about to pack my lunch, I clearly heard Spirit said, don't eat that. It was so loud. I actually looked over my shoulder. I heard it like someone whispered. I looked in the thing in my hand. And I was like, okay, that's just in my mind. That thought just occurred in my mind. See, then I heard again. I'm still proceeding to put it in my bag. I heard, throw that out. And the second time I heard it, it was very distinct. And so I took the garbage can. I literally lift up the garbage that was from the top and I emptied it in the bottom. I just didn't want to show that I threw it out. Again, I think that was guidance to say throw it out, but don't make it obvious that you threw it out. And literally, that probably would be like Thursday. And Saturday I was home and having a conversation with my roommate. She was laughing so hard. And I said, what's funny? She says, oh, something that I remember. I said, what? She said, when I was in my country, my cousins gave this Rastaman SH, and you finish it. The same thing that Alice has been using and doing. She gave it to the Rastaman. And I said, why would she do something like that? She says, oh, they were just having an argument and they did it just to spite him. Remember, a couple of days earlier, Spirit told me to throw it out and to hide the fact that I threw it out. And here she is laughing and telling me that this happened to. So I said, oh my goodness, that is horrible. And I said, you saw that and you didn't tell him? She said, oh, I was just a kid. But when she told me, she was old enough to understand. And at the time, she's in her late 20s. So she's old enough to know what had happened to that man was horrible. But it was the Spirit that allowed her to confess. When she was laughing, she was actually laughing at me. Because she's saying to herself, oh, you ate so and so. But I didn't. I had another situation where someone offered me something and I took it. And 3 times I attempted to eat it. And 3 times the Spirit said no. So this is not an irregular occurrence with people. That is one of the biggest ways. Let me tell you, urine, feces, and blood are the 3 things used to bind, to bound, to control, to destroy people. And here, this is why you got to be careful who you are around, who you give access to. All someone has to do is get access to your hair and your nails, your blood. Anything that has DNA matter, put it that way, is what can be used to F you up. Not even going to beat around the bush today. So what you see this woman doing in the video is just ritual. Command and spell is called. Right there in that space. Doing that. And all the other people who are defending her, they're doing it too. And the only person who isn't was the woman who exposed them. All right. Don't make people start to drag her in all that stuff. She's the one that wasn't doing it. This is why she was the enemy. But here's the thing now. For those who say, I'm going to do this or that. It's never going to end good for you. All of these people who have these awards or rewards that they receive from dark energy, you have to lose. You have to lose a lot. All you gain, you lose lots more. This is why I say, let people practice whatever spiritual practice they have. Just wait for your own spirit guide to lead you. And you test the spirits. And, you know, in terms of rituals that ask me to say, for example, you know, I have to go in the forest and I have to put this there. And I don't do those things. I'm very forgetful. And I don't know exactly who I am appeasing. I don't want to go to the crossroads and leave certain things because you're attracting other bad energies as well when doing that. Pretty much in this video, what I'm trying to say is when you're doing commanding spells, and sometimes they're necessary, commanding spells, asking that yokes be broken, asking that people remove their hand from your life, asking that people get exposed, you know, asking people to return what they stole from you. These are all commanding spells. But when it comes to controlling people, that's a whole other game. And so for the people who are going to Jamaica, for example, to go get people to give them rings, guard rings and whatever, you don't know what you're doing. Because what you're essentially doing is asking spirits to come with you, to stay with you, and not just clean energy like demonic forces. Like I said, in the hand of the practitioner, the difference of good and evil lies. The thing you use for evil is the same thing you use to heal. Understand these things. Once this young lady reached out to me and she was saying these stories about a boyfriend, and I was questioning her about it. And I said to her, what do you want to do? And I said to her, remember, you don't get anything without losing something. So if you're staying on the spectrum of light and light work, then you're giving, you're sharing, you're loving. And if you're in a situation where you are bounded and you want to be freed, you have to make it very clear that I am trying to free myself. Harm done to no one, unless the thing that they do to me is returned to them. I am not the one who returned it. I just freed myself. And therefore, you remove the spirit from following you. It is going back to the sender. It's not your fault. So let me give an example. Money owed to me by you know who. I could say, all right, I'm going to go and do my spiritual thing. But why is it being held? Why was it being held? There was a reason. And so I had to take a different approach. Because me personally, someone literally put something against me. And they used my money. And so everything in my life that I'm doing, business or otherwise, it is always very difficult. And so it's a matter of clearing and protecting. And, you know, I have some things that I want to share, but I'm not quite ready yet. And so it opens me up to dealing with more people. And I can clearly see that some of these individuals are surrounded by bad energy and heavily steeped in witchcraft. And so it's clearance and protection, fasting and prayer. And that's what we have to do. We have to constantly be clearing and protecting. But you have to understand the thing. Back in the day when I was in the church, I used to be afraid to read stuff that talks about demons. But if you don't know or I recognize these things, how are you going to protect yourself from them? Okay? So don't be surprised. And now our ancestors brought certain history with them and certain understandings. And our people are now gaining access to things that are not of our spirituality. It is black, it's dark. And when I say black, don't think of the color black. It's negative, probably is a better word. But they'll use it because remember now, people love for money and attention is greater than ever. And I don't want you to think I'm saying just Jamaican people. The ones who are coming to the country to blow up, establish huge companies and business that flourish. As a matter of fact, everybody, every single one have found a way to command the people. The biggest ones are politicians in the island and anywhere else for that matter. Because words, when you speak words, Some people know how to speak words, when to speak the word. It's all manifestation. So you have to learn so that you can command your morning. But my warning is, make sure that if you are going to command someone to do things outside of their will, understand you're going down a terrain that is dangerous. Think on these things. Stay blessed.